If you're new to design, I can understand that it can be an annoying and frustrating task. And that doesn't have to be the case. What if I told you that we can create 5-step process that can build depth, intention, and make your space just holistically feel better when you're in it? It may be daunting and you might get stuck in some areas. It's worthwhile to know that with each step that complements the other, we can create a plan for ourselves that ends up creating incredible depth in this space. So let's see what we can do. The first thing we have to consider is context. We have to make a decision before we even start designing. But what is context? Think about this. What are the walls and materials of your space currently? Is it monotone, perhaps condo contemporary? Is there an exposed brick wall, maybe an industrial loft? Did a past tenant leave a wall green? Do we want to go bold color and maybe avant-garde? Context can play a role in the decisions you make. It can help inform your choices and create a space that blends architecture and interior design more seamlessly. But it's your choice. If you want to honor that context, or if you want to just completely ignore it, I'll leave it up to you. The first thing I would encourage you to think about are large-scale objects. Simple and kind of obvious, but the reasons and the why is not really understood. Let's go back to our axonometric for a second. What is this space? Is it the bedroom, the kitchen, an office? We don't know, because large-scale objects can define the space. They can program the space. Programming is an incredibly complex facet of architecture and design. But for us, what we are doing is simply creating intent. We are giving it purpose. And the purpose of our design will be a living space. The next thing I want to consider is texture. Texture starts to bring a sensorial experience to our space. This is the softness of a high pile rug. This is a throw blanket complementing the couch. Slate coasters adding hard, sharp lines to a coffee table. The thing about texture is that you can consider it while you're choosing your furniture as well. So you might find that you're flipping between furniture items and textured items simply because you want to match. This is completely normal, and sometimes these two steps can go hand in hand. But thinking about your large-scale options first, and then thinking about what textures next, and separating those two can ease the process a bit. When we feel the first two steps start to complement each other, we can start to think about how we want to illuminate the space. Light. In every room, there should be a light source that you can control. It can be a point of interest, adding character to your space. It can be a candle, creating a particular mood. It can be a bedside light, offering illumination for a book. Lighting can be incredibly complex. If we're dealing with brightness, intensity, color, it can get overwhelming very quickly. I would suggest thinking of its function first. What do I need to illuminate this space? And then go from there. I find that this next step is a little bit more tricky because it deals with self-expression, personal tastes, your personality, defining who you are and what you're into. These are books, souvenirs, arts, objects that reinforce who you are and are part of your everyday life. It can be prints that remind you of home. It can be books that you hold dear, objects from a hobby. Designing a space that reflects your personality and connects you back to moments in your life is important. It makes our space unique and fosters individuality, transforming your space into a truly personalized and meaningful home. The last step we should consider is presence. And this can be a tough concept to wrap your head around. But for me, it's what makes your space feel alive or dynamic. This is the steam coming off a kettle, sand falling in an hourglass, and plants. We can start with a few plants. Maybe one that sits on the shelf nicely and another one that takes up the corner and adds verticality to our space. But I leave it up to you. How many plants should you add to your space is your preference and your choice. When I implement these steps designing spaces, I can start to feel everything come together. Each step complements the other, and what we achieve is this fantastic sense of design intent. We get this incredible depth and thoughtfulness and really bring out the unique aspects of who we are in our design choices. We can really see our personality come through in this space. But remember, design and self-expression is different for everyone. Condo contemporary looks a certain way, and some people don't like that. We can design something for an industrial loft, showcasing browns and metal ornamentation. Or we can be bold with color and choose objects that showcase our bravado in avant-garde inspired spaces. The point is, try to have fun with it. And don't be afraid to express yourself in the design decisions you make. And if you're having trouble, here are 5 steps to help you get started. Thanks for watching.